Today, I'm going to go off topic slightly and I want to talk about cars. Hi, welcome along to the vlog, which is kind of the wrong episode number, and I was kind of figuring out what I did because on yesterday's vlog I put 85, was it yesterday? Whenever the last vlog was, I put 85. This should be 85, so I'm going to call this 84. It'll sort of screw up the sequence with YouTube, but otherwise my numbers are going to be out and people are going to be missing episodes. Today I want to go slightly off topic and talk about cars. Now, I'm really into cars. I really do enjoy I have enjoyed fixing them and things in the past. I'm quite into my Formula 1. Come on, Lewis Hamilton next weekend, probably by the time he may not have done, but Nigel Mansell was my first hero. I wasn't really into football. I enjoyed my cricket, but Formula 1 and cricket were my first two loves. And one of my earliest memories is Nigel Mansell's tyre blowing out at the 86 Australian Grand Prix. I wasn't there, I was watching it on TV, and then subsequently following his career. But my cars, well, I learnt to drive in a red Nissan Micra, of which I don't have a picture, but I may bring in a library photo now. It was a pretty slow and sturdy piece of equipment. It didn't have a passenger side door mirror, I remember that, but I had 10 lessons and passed my test first time. Sadly, 3 weeks later I had my first accident. Thankfully nothing was seriously damaged. My dad had spent 18 months painstakingly rebuilding an old Mini, and I crashed it into an Austin Maestro, which are horrible cars. Anyway, shortly after my 18th birthday, I got myself my first car, which was a red Ford Escort. You can see I modded it a little bit, but not too much. It had a 1.3 litre engine in it that I think had never been serviced, and one evening in the summer of 2001 Simon and I were driving over to Bury near Manchester to see some girls, and on a bank holiday weekend in the outside lane of the M6, whilst stretching the car somewhat, an almighty bang happened. I then had to navigate across 4 lanes of traffic with no engine and no power steering, and stopped and opened the bonnet up, and there was a hole the size of my fist and smoke coming out of everywhere. And I distinctly remember phoning the SOS line next to the motorway and saying to the police, I think half my engine's in the middle of the M6. I then progressed onto my boy racer car, which you can't really see here because I'd literally just bought it. This was before I'd kind of souped it up a little bit. This was my Peugeot 306, which did get the full treatment, the neon lights, the change of seat covers, you know, the kind of mod bits on the back. I don't think I put too much body kit on it, but it was a diesel, which was a bit weird. But I'll tell you what, it was great on the motorway because it had so much kind of torque in the engine, you could really go for it. But this was my, you know, my chick-mobile. I had some good times in this car, which I'm not going to diverge on the vlog. After that one, but that one met a rather sad end in that the head gasket went on it. And so that car bit the dust. I managed to offload it onto a dealer before I bought this car, which was by far the most boring car I've ever owned, which was a Vauxhall Astra Estate. I remember when I was getting my Escort, my dad saying to me, trying to get me to buy some horrible Nissan box car. He was like, oh, you'll get all your gear in that for the gigs. I was like, yeah, but I won't pull any girls in that car. Now, I've been a father myself, I kind of understand maybe where he was coming from, that he didn't want me going out pulling girls in a car. But anyway, I digress. The Astra was It was kind of just a basic Astra. There wasn't much to it. I think it had aircon. That was kind of the only real, not that you needed aircon with this picture. But I had so many happy memories of this car. This was the car I owned when Katie and I first started going out. It was the car I moved over to Northern Ireland with. This is where this picture was taken in the winter after we got married and it really snowed. And it was the car that brought Amy home from hospital.
Hello, Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Home.
That car had a lot of memories, but it was getting a bit tired and I'd owned it for quite a while. I think I tried to sell it when I was at college and kind of, I wasn't willing to let it go too cheaply and nobody ended up buying it. It did have the back window put in it, I remember that, and the side window, yeah. You're kind of getting a trend here about my luck with cars, aren't you? Then I bought the car I own now, which is a BMW 320, and I can hear the groans from some people and the kind of maybe applause from others. I was one of those people who used to hate BMW and Audi drivers before I bought one, but when I got one, I was just like, wow, what a car. That BMW and I have travelled a lot of miles. The last rating, I've definitely done over 100,000 miles on it since I bought it. It was a fine, fine machine. I mean, leather seats, CD player.
It's got leather seats. It's got a CD player.
That was, yeah, it worked really, really well. Great car, everything. It was fine until a few years ago, it cost me £2,500 to be put right. So my BMW has had, it's had a new timing chain that I got done. I had to buy a new rear drive shaft for it recently, and now, as you saw in the other vlog, the gearbox is knackered. I'm not having much luck with cars, as you can tell, but I do remember when we went to get the BMW, Amy was about 6 months old, maybe younger, and Katie's saying to me, but you can't get the pram in this car, and I was like, I can get the pram in this car, and I literally rammed the thing, we broke the pram in half trying to get, but anyway. I'll tell you a funny story on cars. My grandpa, he passed away 5 years ago now, actually this month, but he would always kind of, I think he always had Volvos when I was growing up, and then he bought a Toyota in the mid-90s, and he was always onto it. You want to get a Toyota? You want to get a Toyota? He was thrilled when he met Katie because she owned a Toyota. Then I got my BMW and I kept saying to him, you want to buy a BMW? You need to buy a BMW. He shut up talking to you about Toyotas after that. I don't know, BMWs are nice cars, but hey, when they go wrong, they are... Hey! But, oh, can't put that in the vlog. When they go wrong, they are very expensive to fix. So you kind of need to get yourself on a good deal, but they're lovely cars to drive. What I love about the BMWs is that I can, the one I have now is, when we lived in Northern Ireland, I used to do a lot of gigs in Newcastle, County Down, and it's just kind of down on the coast, and then we lived in Bangor, which is kind of up here, and there's a lot of country lanes all the way home, and I could really drive the car. I could fling it into corners, and it's just so responsive with the rear wheel drive. And on motorways, it is just a glide. You know, you just stick the cruise on and it cruises at a certain speed that I'm not going to put on the vlog. 70 miles an hour, obviously. In one sense, I've probably just told you a nice vlog story not to trust me when it comes to cars. But cars are a black hole. A wise soul once told me that, and they are, but you need it, especially if you live in rural England. There's just kind of no chance of getting around with that car, and I guess if you live in the States and other places like that. When I lived in London, I didn't need it as much apart from when I was doing gigs, because you can't get, you know, tubes, well, the night tube runs now, it doesn't run on the full network, and it's not often safe enough to be walking around with lots of gear on your back, and even if you're safe in that sense, you end up hurting your back. So as a musician, you need to have a good, reliable car. And I've got to say that of all of them, this was the most boring, but the most reliable. And so what I get next, I don't know. I need to sell some albums first. So if you are watching this and you haven't seen the album, then make sure you go and check it out. Finally, before we finish, I just want to say thank you to 4 people who have sent me emails over the last few days. Dave in London, thank you very much. Randy in the Bay Area, it was such a joy to receive your email today. Jane, you were asking me about ligatures. I'm back on the Sax ligature simply because it was just working the best with that particular mouthpiece setup. And John, I think, up in Scotland. I'm hoping to do a little bit more on the vlog with some more practice exercises, but if you head to CambridgeSaxophone.com, you can pick up loads. There's like 300 videos and more on the website where you can pick it up. And if you go over and the little box pops up, you can get 4 free video lessons from me with plenty of ideas. Please do keep the emails coming. Honestly, sometimes I do these vlogs and I wonder who's watching them and is anybody caring about what I'm doing. Maybe a lot of people aren't, but if you are, please hit a like button below, please subscribe, and if you've got any questions or comments or anything you'd like to see on the vlog, just drop me an email or drop me a message in the comments box, and we can go from there. All the music you hear on the vlogs is either being composed or recorded by me. Some of the new stuff, I'm just kind of messing around with loops and Logic and trying to put something together. A lot of the stuff in the vlog has been stuff from Message, which is an album I did over 10 years ago. Some of it from What If Rupert Murdoch Liked Jazz. But don't forget, Jazz Vespers comes out on Sunday, and that will probably be the next vlog episode, because I have worked now 3 weeks solid without a day off, and I need a day off tomorrow, which I'm not really going to get because I've got to do some teaching, but I need to try and spend some more family time and get a few things sorted, including tidying this studio. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you.